studio audience, and all the folks watching at home. I am your host, Brooke Benton. Welcome to the National Comedienne Joke Off. After a grueling year, we are down to 3 finalists, one of which will be the winner of the grand prize, $100,000. This year's contestants are Eleanor Brown, who came from nowhere to make it to the finals in her last year on the circuit. Mercedes Ellington, who has placed in the top 3 in the last 4 years without ever winning. And Fanny Foote, or Granny Fanny, who has finally made the top 3 in the season finale after many years on the national circuit. Let's go meet these girls. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Oh my, I'm so nervous. I never expected to be in the green room waiting to go on for the nationals. How can you appear so calm?
You get used to it. First time I was over the moon, but not quite so much the second time. Over the rainbow, maybe. But by the third time, I felt over the hill, and now I'm just over it all.
Now, dear, you surely must realize what an honor it is to be in the final 3, never mind being on the best paid comedy circuit in the industry. Millions of people have been watching us all year. What a compliment.
Look, Fanny, I only do this for the paycheck at the end. I hate performing, but I've never been able to hack a 9-to-5 job. So if I get a decent paycheck, like $100K, I can set myself up with a little business of my own and get out of this debasing racket.
Debasing? What do you mean? People pay good money for us to make them feel good, to give them an escape for the routines in their lives, to make them happy.
Oh my, you make us sound like hookers.
I agree. My point exactly.
Now, I was just joking, dear. The only hooking I ever tried involved making a hideously ugly wall hanging. Now, I'm proud to supplement my income with circuit gigs at my age. I'll admit, though, that my medicine is very expensive. And as much as I love performing, the benefits are worse than a clogged vacuum. If I won, it would be enough money I could retire knowing I could afford my prescriptions for as long as I need them.
I feel kind of shallow. If I win, I would just put the money into my career. I would be able to travel to bigger gigs and get enough publicity to become a household name like Lucille Ball or Whoopi Goldberg. After that, the sky's the limit. But being a comic is all I ever wanted to do, all I ever wanted to be.
Very touching, but I'm not impressed. Every woman I've seen come through here has had some sob story or other. I really couldn't care less what your problems are. If I don't win this year, I'm going to lose it. You just hit the circuit. You need to pay some dues.
Without putting too fine a point on it, what happened in past years doesn't matter a fig. The audience has to pick one of us, and nothing says they will factor in if anyone has paid their dues or not.
Maybe we should agree to split the winnings. No matter who wins, 33 grand would come in handy, wouldn't it?
I would trust either of you to follow through if I lose. I am going to win this year and let you two fight over the crown next year.
Maybe they're right. Maybe you can estimate someone's trustworthiness by how trusting they are.
Hey, trusting people only gets you hurt.
Never being able to trust anyone hurts all the time, though. The hurt never goes away.
What do you know about being hurt?
No one has a monopoly on pain, Mercedes. Everyone's been hurt.
Try losing your husband after 60 years of marriage.
Please, Fanny, spare me. You even joke about it.
Of course I do. We humans have always made jokes about failure and death, what scares us and hurts us the most. It's like whistling past the graveyard. Making fun of our fears makes them lose their power over us.
Welcome back to the National Comedian Joke Off. We will get started right away with our first contestant, Eleanor Brown.
Thank you for that wonderful applause. My name is Eleanor Brown, and my spirit animal is the big comfy couch. In fact, recently I joined a dating app. Instead of meeting new, exciting singles, you hook up based on your energy. I chose couch potato looking for long-term mattress. Look, that's not to say I'm not into fitness, okay? I'm like fitness deep dish pizza in my mouth. Oh yeah, I love to eat. You can hardly tell, I bet. But being in love with food instead of fools is no guarantee of avoiding heartbreak. For example, I discovered that the Pringles holder on my exercise bike was actually for water. That was real heartbreak. Oh, or what about people who say food for thought? I'm like, where? Where it at? Is that cruel or what? I love fast food. I love it so much. When I arrive at McDonald's, they already have my order ready. No app required. And they say customer service is dead. I've done a lot of research on eating. I know, for example, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. That's why I have several. I also had a vegan lunch today with Snickers and a Slurpee. Of course, I'm on a diet. I've been on a diet since I was old enough to hate myself. In fact, right now, I am so desperate, I'm on 2 diets. I just find one doesn't give me enough food. I'm also trying to lower my carbs, mostly lowering them into my mouth, but if you were to measure me in serving sizes, I'm a family of 4. My last boyfriend, he tried to help me by locking the fridge at night. I'd get my exercise by trying to break into it. Of course, my weight isn't just from poor eating habits. In fact, when I sit around the house on the weekend and I wear my blanket around my shoulders because I'm super lazy. I recently got in an accident. Yeah, I hurt my wrist trying to lift my extra large pizza. In fact, when I was at the doctor, she says, well, you'll never be able to lift weights again. And I'm like, so basically the same. You know, I'm so lazy. I even hired someone to walk my Fitbit. In fact, I did buy an exercise bike though. The best workout I ever got was hauling that thing to the curb. But enough is enough. Enough is enough. I finally decided to get serious about my weight. So I joined a gym. But it was so confusing. At the check-in counter, there was a sign that said, please wear loose clothing. And I'm thinking, if I'm wearing loose clothing, I wouldn't even be here. Then I got into some kind of exercise class, you know, run by this impossibly thin, perky, super positive woman. You know the type. Everybody form a circle, she said. I told her I had already formed several circles. That's why I am here. I hated her instantly. Briefly, I got motivated from watching the last Olympics on TV. The athletes were so inspiring. I decided to try out for the 100-meter dash. Last week, I even set a new personal goal. 23-step walk from my bed to the couch. Well, since all this exercise isn't making me thinner, I'll just get a head-to-toe tattoo of a really skinny person. Or maybe not. You know, there are a lot of good things about carrying a few extra pounds. For one thing, we don't wrinkle. I mean, fat is like the poor man's Botox. And speaking of wrinkles, I also don't have to use an iron. I mean, the wrinkles just stretch right out. I'm kidding, like I would ever iron my clothes. I barely wash them. I guess I'm just not the domestic type. I mean, the only thing I make for supper is reservations. Thank you very much, everyone. You were fantastic.
A great performance. Let's have another round of applause for Eleanor Brown. She sure has a great future on the circuit, whichever way the vote goes. Up next, however, we have a real crowd favorite you will just love. But first, we have to pay some bills with these messages from our sponsors.
Great job, Eleanor. What a wonderful act you've developed.
Oh, Granny, you're so sweet.
Oh, shit, it really was good.
Thank you.
I'm gonna be another Susan Lucci.
Who?
Remember Susan Lucci from that soap, All My Children? Nominated for Best Actress in a Daytime Drama 1,000,000 times without ever winning. At least she was filthy rich.
Actually, Miss Lucci won in 1999 with her 18th nomination.
I am not staying in this circuit for 18 years. It's killing me. I got slow poison. We roll out our pain for all to see and hope the mob approves. We live and we die by that mob.
You ungrateful little.
Let me just intercede here, Eleanor. Look, Mercedes, we understand you must be terribly frustrated with not winning for the last 4 years. But how do you think I feel? I've been standing in front of the bricks longer than you.
You have? I didn't know that.
Oh, I envy you being in the final 3 year after year when I would bust my butt for nothing. Oh, enough with the pity party. You haven't even gone on yet. You still have just as much chance of winning as either one of us.
You know what? Making it to the final 3 and then knocking it out of the park tonight is a memory I will always cherish no matter how it turns out. Forget the 100 grand. I feel like $1,000,000 right now. Hearing people laugh at something you said is the sweetest sound in the universe.
Well, you can have the $1,000,000 and I'll just be happy with that 100 grand.
Was it ever fun for you?
No, not really. I mean, people always laughed at my sarcastic comments growing up. And when I was getting hard up, it was either stand up or pole dancing. So way past pole dancing. So I watched a few circuit shows and didn't look that hard. So, I mean, I wasn't even surprised with my success, but just because you are good at something does not mean you like doing it.
I have to admit, I use those exact words with my husband, but I'd rather not say what we were discussing.
Hey, oh my, that was so funny.
Oh, thanks, Granny. I needed that.
I do understand what you're saying, though. It must be hell for you to do it for the reasons that you do. Can't imagine how hollow the whole experience must be from your standpoint.
Maybe Mercedes is onto something, though. Have you ever died out there, Granny? Probably not, because you're so good.
Are you kidding? I crashed and burned lots of times, especially at the beginning. going back on stage after the first time was the hardest thing I ever had to do.
Who cares if they laugh? As long as you get paid either way. We all know sometimes audiences seem like oil paintings, but it's not my fault if they don't like my material.
Oh, yeah. I once did a private gig for the Lions Club or Elks, maybe some animal anyway. And these old fuds, sorry, Granny, were stiffer than a crowd of cadavers. I swear. Though afterwards they were very complimentary and said it was the only way we could do not to laugh at my stories.
Exactly. You can't measure your own self-worth by how much the audience laughed on any given night. That is the road to booze or drugs to make yourself feel better. Trust me, I know. I've seen lots of gals on the circuit take that path, and believe me, it ain't pretty.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's so sad. I've been lucky to have had a long stretch of great crowds. The circuit isn't so bad. People know exactly what they're coming for and laugh just to make sure they feel they got their money's worth.
The 2-drink minimum helps.
Oh, yeah. Drunk crowds are great, but not if they get too drunk. Why, one time?
Thanks for tuning in once again for the National Comedian Joke-Off. Up next, we have a true legend. On the circuit, she is loved by the audiences and fellow comics alike. Please welcome Granny Fanny Foot.
Hello, everyone. My name is Fanny Foot. I do realize that's 2 body parts, sort of like a bum hip, but you can just call me Granny. I had such a time getting here. I was driving in from out of town and I took a shortcut down this dirt road. Next thing you know, it got really foggy. Suddenly there was a tree right in front of me. So I cranked the wheel to the left. Then there was another tree. So I cranked the wheel to my right. And then another tree. And then I realized it was just my air freshener. I know it's kind of an old joke. I just happened to borrow it. Actually, some people say I'm a plagiarist. That's their words, not mine. So I'm just going to share a little bit about myself. I'm a widow, married over 60 years. Not that we were all that devoted to each other, but we were both terribly forgetful and neither one of us could remember to call the lawyer. Walter and I were married so long that on our anniversary, we would celebrate 1 year closer till death do us part. I remember we went to the doctor together just before he passed on, and the doctor said, "You know, Mr. Foot, although you're not in terrible shape, you're getting older now. You may want to make your peace with the big guy upstairs." "Oh, me and the big guy are on great terms," he said. "When I get up to pee at night, he turns on the light for me. And then when I'm done, he shuts the light off again." When the doctor asked me about that, I just told him, "Oy, that old fool, he's been peeing in the fridge again." Oh, sorry. I stopped to think and I forgot to start again. Oh, yes. I was telling you about Walter. One day I came to him and told him I just saw myself in the mirror naked and I looked like hell. So I said, "How about a nice compliment to lift my spirits?" He told me my eyesight was perfect. I remember when Walter would complain because we weren't having enough sex to his liking. He said he was thinking of hiring a hooker he saw advertised in the classifieds. $150 an hour. I told him I hoped she was good at fractions. You know, I like winter, but Walter hated it. When it was snowing like crazy, it would break my heart to see his face pressed up against the window, looking so sad. I'd feel so bad for him that I'd almost let him in before the driveway was shoveled. I remember being pregnant with little Oscar. When I went into labor, Walter called the doctor and said, "My wife is in labor. What should I do?" The doctor asked him if this was my first child. He replied, "No, you idiot, I'm her husband." You know, pregnancy made me crazy for hamburgers. I couldn't get enough of them. I ate so many hamburgers that I almost named little Oscar Wendy. One time, Walter and I were at a party, and he said, "Honey, I just made a silent fart. What should I do?" I told him he better put a new battery in his hearing aid. After I lost Walter, I decided to join a dating site because my voice of reason walked me years ago. But I wasn't getting any hits on my profile, so I showed it to my girlfriend. She said that I shouldn't include a picture. Or if I'm gonna post a pic, I should put some clothes on. Well, I thought the boys would like it if I showed a new wrinkle now and then. Of course, my grandkids hate it when I share my profile pic on their Facebook. By the way, speaking of grandkids, if you want to experience what it's like to owe a loan shark, borrow $1 from an 8-year-old. Yeah, lack of money is just one of my problems. I'm not sure how many problems I have, though, because, poor math skills is one of my problems. Anyway, that's my time, folks. You have been so lovely. Thank you.
That was a real treat from our granny, wasn't it? Let's give her another hand.
Oh, Granny, that was awesome. They loved it.
Seriously, Granny, the air freshener bit. Do you know how old that is?
Sounds like it was new to them. What a great crowd.
I thought so too. You're lucky you're going last, Mercedes. We warmed them all up for you.
Yeah, right. I bet they're all trying to decide between you two and won't even listen to me. Man, I wish I would have gone first. Might have had a chance.
Really, Mercedes? I don't think you'll wow anyone with a defeatist attitude like that. I want to win the dough as much as anybody. But from my perspective, I have a way better chance if you think you've already lost. Maybe actually care about this audience for once. Don't just recite jokes, engage with them. It does make a difference.
Why the pep talk? If I win, you'll just be still struggling to buy your medications. Why do you care?
Because I will always love the feeling of the laughs and the applause. If I have to do circuit gigs till I die, so be it. Did you ever see Phyllis Diller retire? How about Joan Rivers?
Those old hags look pathetic after a while.
Their fans didn't think so. The love of loyal fans is what kept them going.
Those of us on the circuit not addicted to alcohol or drugs are addicted to the crowd busting a gut. I would do it for nothing. I'll manage with my meds one way or another. I just want you to connect with the crowd and see the difference it makes to your own psyche than just blabbing funny things to say. You might even knock them dead.
It might make it more fun for you, if nothing else. Don't underestimate the power of fun. I want to win this thing more than I ever wanted anything, but I also know if I don't get it this year, I'll probably have another chance next year. I truly, genuinely wish the best of luck to you, Mercedes.
You know, the other girls all those years weren't like you two. So guess I got a lot to think about.
Well, you better think about it pretty darn quickly. I'm sure the ads are about done.
Welcome back once again to the National Comedian Joke Off. My name is Brooke Benton, and we now present our final performer. She has been a popular addition to the circuit for over a decade with her unique, hilarious comic stylings. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mercedes Ellington.
Hey everyone, how you doing? I'm great. You know how I know I'm great? Because everywhere I go, people say, "Ah, great." So, must be true. Are we having any fun yet? First two girls were amazing, weren't they? Well, I am Mercedes, and the world is moving too fast for me, man. You know how I know? Kids these days have no idea that Netflix used to send DVDs to your house. No idea. You should see me try and explain Blockbuster. Once upon a time, children, there was a glowing cathedral of movies and cinema that you had to beg your parents to drive you to on a Friday night because you were a loser and you had no friends to hang out with. And then you got there and you had to pray they had enough VHS copies of the movie you wanted that came out in theaters over a year ago. Although I was driving by a movie theater the other day, and the new movie that was out, Mortal Kombat. When are we? When are we? I know, I complained, but I'm just glad to be here safe. In order to get here, I had to take one of those cheap-ass airlines. You know the ones. Like, the stewardess was giving the whole spiel at the beginning, and instead of doing the regular safety routine, she said, "In the event of oxygen from sudden depressurization, simply reach up and do this." What? I mean, I guess it kind of reminded me of my old Mazda, which had manual airbags. Yeah, manual. You just had to hyperventilate into a tube and that would inflate the airbag. Like, I mean, all right, well, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about my background. I was born into sorry circumstances. Both of my parents were sorry the moment they saw me. I never had a stepdad, but I did have a stepladder. That's a ladder you get when the first ladder goes out for cigarettes and doesn't come back and your mom has to find a new ladder. Growing up in my situation was tough, but then I had a life-changing experience. Unfortunately, I had another one and I changed back. I have managed to find coping strategies, though. My favorite aromatherapy scent, for example, is model airplane glue. Way safer than sniffing hot glue, let me tell you. That is the road to ruin. And super clogged nostrils. Yeah, I don't just flirt with danger. I invite it back to my place for drinks. Actually, my doctor says I drink more than my weight would allow. So now I'm on a diet to gain a few more pounds. Yeah, pretty smart. You think gaining weight would be simple? Just hang around a bunch of stoners all day? You know, you never know when one of them's got a cheeseburger in their pocket or for how long. I saw two dudes high out of their minds walking around railroad tracks the other day. One of them said, "Man, this long staircase is killing me." The other one said, "Yeah, but it's the handrail that's killing me." Drugs, so bad for you. Never, ever, 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 well, hardly ever, will I ever do them. except wine. My body is a temple, and I have a rule. No cheap wine in the temple. I describe myself as an oenologist because the term wine connoisseur isn't pretentious enough. This Merlot offers whiffs of oak and honey with a hint of blah, 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 blah. Ugh. Wine tasting, so absurd. I mean, even soda has its absurdities. If our nation is so divided by the Pepsi versus Coke debate, they aren't even allowed in the same restaurant together. How can countries help to get along? And politicians, they don't help. When was the last time you went, oh, thank God that guy was elected? Never. Have you ever? No. Politics is, as they say, show business for ugly people. I mean, politics, poly, coming from the Latin poly prefix, meaning many, and ticks are, of course, blood-sucking parasites. And speaking of criminal organizations, I just read organized crime now has the banking app on iTunes. It's called Pay Up, Pal. So convenient. Having the guys that have to break your kneecaps come right to your door. I mean, I do love shopping online at home. Super addicting. I even record the infomercials. All those incredible deals, bankrupting me though. I am such a sucker too, man. I just bought one of those Hoover steam scrub machines for hard to reach places. They claim it's gentle on surfaces, but stings like hell. It's not as bad as those Lysol wipes though. Oosh. I mean, thanks to my shopping addiction, I am so broke. I mean, so broke I needed laser eye surgery, but couldn't afford it. So I tried taser eye surgery. Hurt like hell, and now my eye twitches whenever I get close to electric appliances. All right, thank you so much for being a great crowd. Love you. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Let's have another hand for Mercedes Ellington. Okay, we will now have the contestants come out as we call for the votes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will now learn, with your help and applause, who will be crowned winner of the national title and receive the 100,000 grand prize. Ladies, as I call your name, please come forward. First of all, let's hear it from Eleanor Brown.
Thank you so much, everybody. Y'all have been great.
Wow, that was a nice response. Now, Granny Fanny Foot. Another great response. And now, Mercedes Ellington.
You guys have been amazing. No more years. No more years.
And the audience went crazy for Mercedes Ellington.
Oh my God, finally, Susan Lucci, no more. Thank you so much, everyone. You were absolutely amazing. Good night.